dear family and friends, thank you for being here today to help us pay respects to my father. We really appreciate your presence. For those who spoke before me, thank you for those kind words for Dad. By the way, for those who don't know, I'm Chito. I'm the youngest of the 4 children.
Listen to your dad.
Death is more universal than life. Everyone dies, but not everyone lives. What I have to say has nothing to do about death. It's about life. It's about the fullness, the richness, the loving life that you lived. I've had to edit my talk because Monty took care of some parts, but more aptly, much better than I could pull it up. But about his name, I had to deal with a little bit of that myself because Chito's fine here in the Philippines, but in America, I tell them my name. Excuse me? Chito, like the cheese puffs. Oh, okay. I just wonder what Dad would say when he said he's tits. And it's like, excuse me? Oh, tits, like, no. Well, I think having these challenging names, nicknames, proved useful because it builds character. Making me think I'm going to change my kids' names. It's too easy for them in Canada. If anybody has suggestions for names, challenging names, let me know. I asked Mom this morning, what do you remember about Dad? She said, he was very cool, always under control, like the time when they went on one of their early dates. He let the valet park his car, and when the date was over, they went to get the car and found it had huge scratches and dents. Mom was almost hysterical and very upset, yelling at the attendants. Well, Dad, he was cool. He was calm and collected. His coolness was a defining part of his overall character. It was a quality that led him to certain heights. Dad was probably the most humble man I've ever met. He was never that ambitious. He shied away from the limelight. The only time I can identify his need to upgrade his job or climb the ladder was when he interned at a law office. And a major part of the internship was cleaning plates in the kitchen after lunch breaks. He purposely broke plates, dropped them to get out of it, and it worked. He climbed one rung himself. And speaking of his career, he was working in Meralco in the early years. And Jake Lopez, his good friend from Ateneo, saw Dad while visiting Meralco and said to Dad, what are you doing here? Why don't you join me and Penny at ABS? There's a lot more pretty chicks there. Is that true? Sorry if there's any Meralco people here. And that was enough motivation for Dad to jump ship. And thanks to that moment, Dad eventually met Mom, because Mom was one of Henny's secretaries. He rose up the ranks in ABS, not because he clamored for higher positions. It was because of his quality of being cool, being honest, principled, being fair. Reluctantly, he became head of collections, then human resource, and legal, all without his wanting. Henny trusted my dad so much to handle these positions. One day, Henny suggested that Dad should be head of the news department. Dad said, "I know nothing about news. Nothing, no. He declined. The next morning, on his way to the office, people were congratulating him. Why are they congratulating him? Then he found out he was the new head of news. I believe Henny chose Dad because he had the character to manage the high-maintenance characters, newscasters, in the news department, among other traits. But you know, to get an idea of how humble or simple he was, when we were young, we would ask him, "Dad, what do you do for work?" He told us he was a security guard. So for years, I thought he was a security guard. But there was nothing wrong with that, because when you're young. Dad was typical Tanada, or maybe he was one of the prototypes, a genuine Tanada. Of course, the two traits. Number one, everybody knows we can drink. I suffer from that. And number two, he was cheapskate. My wife knows I suffer from that. And as an example of how cheap he was when he would accompany Henny on his foreign business trips, and Henny would take him to expensive, fancy restaurants in Japan, Russia, wherever. And what would Dad order? He'd ask for a hot dog and beer. Henny would say something like, "We've earned it. We've earned it. Let's enjoy a little. Why don't you order a double scotch, caviar?" But Dad felt guilty about splurging, even if it wasn't his own money. Dad was so cheap that when he was president of ABS-CBN, which was ABS-CBN Foundation, which was really operated by Gina, Henny's daughter, he denied Gina's request for an SUV as a corporate car. He wanted her to have a regular company van, not an SUV, since other office mates might deem it too luxurious. Henny had to convince Dad to make an exception. Because Gina had been missing from the family for many years and had just reappeared. And he didn't want to lose Gina over a vehicle type. So Dad relented. There's another story I'd like to share about how principled and how tough he was. When he was a small boy, he lit a firecracker in his bedroom, tossed it out the window, but instead the firecracker hit the window frame, bounced back to his thigh, and exploded, leaving a wound. Later, when his yaya was dressing him, she noticed and called Lola, Dad's mom, Expedita. Nervously, Dad came up with a quick story. A dog bit him while he was sleeping, and that he had left a sandwich on that part, and the dog ate it and bit him. That's how he has that wound. But so he stuck to his story. I'm sure Lola probably knew it was not true, maybe. So he stuck to his story. Lola then ordered Dad to be given rabies shots. And rabies is not just one shot. It's 20, more than 20 shots. So he took the first ones in the Lucena police clinic, and the rest were done in Manila by a family physician. I don't know who else in their right mind would take 20 injections just to stick to his not so well planned story. But Dad did. Dad had a lot of stories he never told us about. He wasn't too chatty about his past. And my siblings and myself would try to pull the stories out of him, but he'd only talk with a glass of beer or scotch, just like Monty experienced. He didn't like bragging about anything. I wish we knew more. I really wish we knew more. He lived a long, eventful, epic life, survived the wars, martial law, imprisonment, political asylum. He lived with diabetes for more than 40 years. He lived long after being a smoker of 2 packs a day. He lived more than 3 years with 0 appetite, having to be fed through a tube connected to his stomach. When his heart stopped for 5 minutes a couple of weeks ago, he still survived that. The nurse said he was on his second life. Doctors said he was matibay. But as much as we wanted him to hang around with us a little longer, he chose the perfect time to pass. Trixie arrived on December 24th. And that evening, he passed. That's the first time we've been together in 10 years. So Dad picked at that time. He was ready. So he completed his transition from physical to the afterlife. In everlasting peace, he joins family members, Lolo, Lola, Andy, Greg, Nats, Annie, Chona, Red, Gustavo, and others. Dad, we love you, we thank you, and we will miss you. I want to take a moment to recognize my mother, Zen. Mom handled the hardship of Dad's prolonged health battle really well. She organized everything so smoothly, never seemed to be depressed. Her true love for Dad shines so brightly in these difficult times. We love you, Mom. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank you for coming here and giving your heartfelt support. Let us rejoice in the memories, the life of Lorenzo Tanada Jr. He showed us that in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Thank you.